Hi, welcome to another episode of Look Ma No Hands. My name is Linda, and this is my little corner of YouTube where I talk about crochet, all things yarn, sometimes a little bit about art and painting. I talk about what I'm reading, what I'm watching on TV, in the movies, and on streaming. Occasionally I talk about things that are going on in my life, and haven't done it lately, which I probably should do another segment of fancy footwork, but I'm trying to come up with some good content to put into fancy footwork. Fancy footwork is a segment that I demonstrate, or I guess demonstrate is the best word, the ways that I've adapted everyday life activities to be able to do them with my feet, since I was born without arms. All those kinds of things come naturally for me since I was born without arms, but to your average person, the skills that I've acquired probably look difficult, or maybe like I'm struggling a little bit, so I just want to kind of shine some light on my life skills and hopefully help people realize that it might look like a struggle, but it's just the way I do things. So yeah, like I said, I should probably get around to filming more fancy footwork stuff. With that, let's jump right in to what I am wearing. I finished this granny stitch, I guess you would say t-shirt, this week. It is the Old Town Tee from MJ's Off the Hook. I've done a couple other patterns from that designer, and I really love how straightforward and clear the instructions are for her patterns. I like the fact that they're size inclusive, from extra small to like 5XL. That way anybody that wants to make them or anybody that wants to wear them can do so. I like that she gives instructions for how to adjust the sizing to make sure the fit is the best it can be. The size that I made was, I believe, the medium size, and it's also the size that is shown in like all the photographs and videos and stuff. The one thing that, like I said, that I like about her instructions are that she explains like how the fit can be modified and changed. All the pictures were shown on someone that's about 4 inches taller than I am, so if I had gone through and stitched it according to the number of rows needed for the person modeling it, it would have been too long for me. I'm quite short, so I knew that if I just stopped a few rows shy of what was stated in the pattern, the shirt would fit the way I want it to fit me. So I did that. I stopped maybe like 3 or 4 rows short of the pattern. She gives instructions on how to do different finishings at the collar and the bottom hem and the sleeve opening. So she did a scalloped edge for the bottom, but I prefer the banded, the ribbed banding at the bottom. So that's what I did. Yeah. What I love about crochet is how it's like so customizable. Like if you don't like the scallop, then you don't have to do that. You can change it up. Another modification that I did was after I finished the collar, the drape of it was a little bit too wide for my physique. So I just sized down on my hook size and did another round of single crochet, and also decreased the stitches at the points where the increases happened for the sleeve shaping around the collar. In doing that, it brought the neckline in just enough that I feel it fits comfortably. So yeah, that's how I completed this project, and I'm super happy with the results. Of course, I did it in my favorite color, purple, and I wanted to have a little bit of contrast for the collar and the band, and I even did a little bit of that same color at the edge of the sleeves so that it just had a little bit of cohesive flow to it. And that's that. So what I've worked on stitching this for a good part of the week, and then as soon as I finished this top, I started a beanie for my mom. She says she wanted another lightweight summer hat to wear when she's out for a walk or when she's feeling like her hair is not up to par for the day, something she can just put on to kind of take care of the flyaways. So she wanted a slouchy summer beanie, and when we were at the thrift store, we had found some lightweight yarn. It was Bernat Softy Baby Cotton, and that yarn was an absolute dream to work with. It didn't split, which is such a bonus when working with big box yarn. Oftentimes it can be a little splitty, but this yarn was fantastic. It was in the colorway, what's the colorway? Rainstorm variegated, and it's just shades of light blue, kind of like a taupe color, and a cream color. It just very much reminded me of like maybe like seashells, or as it says, like a rainstorm. Just very light pastel colors, which is just what she wanted. So yeah, she tried it on. It's quite slouchy, quite baggy, but she said that it fits nice, that, you know, it'll take her some time to get used to wearing such a baggy hat, such a slouchy style. I told her if she needs me to change it up at all, to tighten up the band around the forehead and like around her head to make it fit a little better, just bring it on back and I'll take care of it. Which is what she had to do with a sweater that I had made her back in like late winter, early spring. It was a gray sweater that was short sleeve. It was from the Selena Baca book that I have, that is a collection of beginner patterns for sweater making and blouses and ponchos and things like that. She liked the length of the sweater. She liked the positive ease that the sweater had, so she can wear it over other like turtlenecks and things like that. But she did not care for the fit of the collar. Again, she felt that the collar was just a little bit too loose. So I kept telling her, just bring it back and I can fix it. I can change it and make it fit the way you want. She was like, oh, no, if it bothers me that much, I'll just get rid of it. And I was like, but I can fix it. So she finally brought it back this week, and I added a couple of rounds of single crochet in a smaller hook size than the pattern called for, which brought the collar in just enough to make it fit more comfortably for her. She also said she liked that it gave it a little bit more substance to the collar. She felt like initially the collar was just a little bit too flimsy. So with adding the couple of rounds of single crochet, she said that it felt like a more substantial and comfortable collar. So she was like, okay, next time I won't give you such a hard time about bringing it back so you can fix it when there's things that you make that I'm like, eh. She realizes that yes, I can modify it and make it better. And with that, I finished that little modification for her, and then picked up the hook and started stitching on another Old Town tee. The one that I'm currently wearing is an acrylic yarn that I used, and the one that I'm making right now is an acrylic wool blend yarn, so it'll be more for like winter time, with it having that little bit of wool content to it. I used that yarn for a project last winter, and I pretty much have decided like I can only wear that sweater in winter, because even though it was a short sleeve sweater and fairly open stitch, when I had it on, I got quite warm. So wool definitely does keep you warm in the winter, so I will only be wearing these sweaters because I'm such a hot body anyway. Only be wearing them in like the deep cold of the Chicago winters. I like feeling cozy, but I don't want to be like overheated. So yeah. And being that it's a granny stitch, there's definitely plenty of ventilation. So maybe this particular pattern will be better for wool yarn. We'll just have to wait and see in the future how comfortable it is to wear. And that's about it for the crochet content. Now we'll move on to what I've been reading this week. For some reason this week I kind of slowed down a little bit on reading. I pushed pause on Iron Will. I'll definitely get back to it. I'm about halfway through, so I'll get back to that book maybe next week, because right now there's nothing in the queue for me to read. I prefer to do audiobooks because then I can multitask. So this week I did that, and I read the third installment of the Dragon Slippers series. I think I'm gonna call it a trilogy because it seems as though this is like the final book of that collection, and it's called Dragon Spear by Jessica Day George. I would classify this as like an upper elementary, middle school audience. It's, for lack of a better way to call it, kind of a fairy tale. There's dragons, there's various like kingdoms and things like that, so definitely along the lines of a fairy tale. Each book of the Dragon Slippers series, there's some kind of conflict for dragonkind, and Crelisel, aka Creel, is kind of like an orphan that was, I guess you could say, sold into slavery to one of the dragons in the beginning, and she was rescued from that situation and then became friends with dragons, and then helped them in their conflict with various dragon factions. That there were two warring communities of dragons, and Creel helped the one community defeat the other in the first two books, actually. And in this third installment, she's right back to her heroic actions. She has to step in to save her friends and bring peace between two groups of dragon kind. And she's accompanied by her knight in shining armor, her prince, that in the previous two novels, the relationship between them kind of developed their little romance. And her younger brother joins the posse to help out, and he's kind of starstruck by all the dragons and a little bit starstruck by his big sister, who's like the hero of the dragon community. So it was a lot of fun. It was a good book. Creel is also a dressmaker, and she was responsible for making dresses for her friends when they got married, and just a lot of fun in those terms of like being a maker, and reading through like this fictitious person that uses those stitching skills. So I felt kind of connected to the character in that way. There's a little bit of drama behind her career path and things that she's doing that are woven into this story, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So if you're into reading fairy tales, or if you have a young reader in your life, this series is definitely one that I would recommend. Like I said, there's that little bit of romance element. There's definitely tons of adventure. a lot of like girl power kind of feeling towards this story, where, you know, it's a young female character that is the one that kind of swoops in and saves the day for everyone. So just a really great, fun little fluffy story to read. And it's not exclusive to little girls. I think the boys would get excitement out of like all the dragon adventure and like all of that fun stuff like that. So it's a great book for any classroom, because like I said, it could be, you know, exciting to hear all of the battle stories and things like that. But then also, like I said, having the female lead character being the hero is pretty cool, pretty modern. So yeah. More than likely I'll be diving into another fairy tale. There's a few on my list, but I'll just have to wait and see what strikes me this week when I'm scrolling through the Hoopla app or Libby to see what jumps off the screen and sounds like something that I can get into. And then what I've been watching this week is various channels on television and different streaming services on ABC, continuing my daily watch of General Hospital. Really enjoying the whodunit of who shot Drew Kane. It's fun to watch how they're setting up like the different characters, the different suspects that could be the ones who did it. I have some theories of my own, and Tim has theories of his own, and so now we're just waiting to see how everything plays out. We watched the final episode of the current season of Bachelor in Paradise. I'm very happy that both couples chose love over money. Just kind of as the viewer realizing that no matter whether or not they chose love, they were going to end up getting some kind of money. They weren't going to completely be like deprived of that victory, that monetary victory. So seeing that both couples chose love over money was a relief. It seemed like a really hard choice for both couples, but in the end, love won. So that was a very satisfying ending. On Hulu, we're continuing to watch Who's the Boss. Food Network, we're continuing with the Great Food Truck Race, which, again, so much fun. I really enjoy the competition type of shows, especially the food-related ones. We watch the shows and think about like all the things that we can kind of take inspiration from when we're watching the shows. As a family, we really enjoy cooking, so when we watch those shows, we're like, oh yeah, that sounds good, we should try that. So we've been watching the Great Food Truck Race, and starting, I think, this week is going to be one of the other baking competitions. I want to say it's like the Halloween Bake-Off or something like that. So we'll be watching that. That one has been advertised quite a bit, and it looks pretty exciting, so yeah. And then on Prime Video, I got sucked into The Summer I Turned Pretty, which I know I'm kind of late to the game. They just started season 3, so I've completely finished season 1, about halfway through season 2, and really enjoy it. It kind of gives me vibes of like Dawson's Creek or My So-Called Life, those kind of shows from the 90s that I loved so much when I was a young adult. So I can definitely see why this show has been quite popular, and look forward to finishing the 2 most current seasons. And yeah, I have my preference as to which of the guys she should be with, but yeah, I'm gonna keep watching just to see how things play out for Belly. And then one evening during dinner time on Netflix, we watched the movie Thunder Force, starring Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer. The movie was hysterical. We had so much fun watching it. We aren't sure how we missed it because it's not a new movie. I think it was from 2021, but it was just really great. It was about like superheroes that like you had like this genius person that Octavia Spencer played, and then Melissa McCarthy was kind of like her little sidekick through everything, and just the mishap that kind of put them into a situation that they both obtained superpowers, and then all of the fun that ensued from them being kind of like haphazard superheroes. It was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed the movie, all three of us. So if you have access to Netflix and you're looking for just a lighthearted story to watch, definitely check out Thunder Force. It was a lot of fun. And that's pretty much everything this week. If you haven't had a chance to check out my quite short video of my participation with the Mouth and Foot Painters Association, I highly recommend going back and taking a look at that. It was just a little something that I put out to kind of bring awareness to the association and illustrate some of the work that I've been doing because of my participation with the association. And yeah, it's just kind of a neat little brief thing that I put out there, so take a minute and go check it out. Other than that, there's not a lot going on in the life section of things. Just continuing to watch the metrics on the channel and seeing things are staying pretty steady, and yeah, a little bit of growth here and there. So if this is your first time here, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy what I've been presenting today. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you are a returning viewer and you've already subscribed, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support that I've seen over the course of the last almost 9 months now. I've been getting to know quite a few of you who drop comments here and there on previous videos, and it just feels like we're, growing in the community. And yeah, and if you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Share with your friends just to continue to grow the channel. I really appreciate, like I said, any of the support that you guys give. It's just been a lot of fun. I'll keep putting out videos as long as I have, a handful of people watching. I'm going to keep continuing to try and grow the channel and add things here and there. I haven't really had opportunity to do very many like haul videos just because I'm trying to be mindful of spending, and just, I don't want to be one of those channels that is constantly like, how they say, enabling. Like, I don't know, I just feel awkward forcing like consumerism and spending. I know there's a lot of people out there that really can't afford all of that kind of stuff, so yeah. If you notice, a lot of the patterns that I talk about are available either for free through various blogs and things like that, or I talk about books that have been published, which I am like a huge proponent of going to the library and picking up the book. Oftentimes, even just for the mere fact of not having room to store books and things like that, but also, again, going back to the cost of things, like just trying to curb spending and being a little bit frugal. I'm fully on board with supporting other creatives and things like that if and when it's possible, but I appreciate that they publish patterns that can be accessed for free online and things like that. I know that visiting their blogs generates ad revenue for them. So if you can't support them through the purchase of patterns, definitely go through and read the blogs and, you know, give them the growth that way. I'll always be sure to share the source of my patterns that I've been working through. Yeah, it's just, that's just me, like trying to be frugal, but then also recognizing that the people that design the things are artists and are putting in a lot of hard work. So any way that we can help them is always good. Until next time, I hope you have a great week, and I will be seeing you.